Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, I'm about to spectate a very special, bizarre match of Age of Empires 2, of course, played between my viewers. Today, we're going to be watching a free-for-all on migration, and the teams aren't going to be locked either, so there are no teams. Players can swap teams at will, bribe each other if they so desire. It's also going to be King of the Hill. This is to ensure, of course, that the game doesn't go on for too long, and the settings are, of course, suggested by you guys as part of my Twitch TV live stream. If you're interested in coming in here to play or just chit-chat with me, then by all means, you can find my Twitch schedule on my Twitch page itself by scrolling underneath the video player there. Alright, so without further ado, let's get this show on the road. This game might turn out to be reasonably long. I might have to split it into two parts, and if that happens, then you can find the second part in the video description when I post it on YouTube. And for those of you watching, buckle up, as it's going to be a weird, crazy holiday match. Of course, this is the day before Christmas Eve, so yeah. I hope that you all have a wonderful, happy holidays, a great holiday season, and we'll see how this one goes. Gonna flip off that delicious fog of war as we're starting off the match on a wonderfully exciting note with a good old freeze, as it looks like Tyrannus, our red player, is experiencing some massive lag, and Stoke as well, lagging a little bit too. If anyone is still listening to the stream while they are in this game, then I suggest that you perhaps pause the stream. You don't have to close it, but if you pause it, then that means that there should be a little bit less lag. Hopefully it doesn't run like this the entire game. Will Stoke's computer hold together? If not, maybe I'll restart, we'll see. Michael Decker's, my stream is 720p because I live in America. And here in this country, we have freedom from good internet. Well, Tyrannus and Stoke, of course, competing over who can lag the most. And let's see, let's go check out the list of civs. Oh yeah, I can't do that. Can I click, I can click the diplomacy menu, right, to see all the civs. Okay, so we have Snizbat playing as the Grey Portuguese. We have Zamax playing as the Green Britons. Rigsism also playing as the Britons, but he's yellow. Prime Troll Jr. playing as the Teal Turks. Foghorn TV playing as the Purple Vikings. And Tyrannus playing as the Red Incas. And last but not least, we have Stoke playing as the Orange Ethiopians. So I believe we have all of the new civs here except for the Berbers. Yeah, all the new African Kingdom civilizations in here. And here's how it works on this specific map. So the idea is that this is the hill. So this is King of the Hill. So if a player moves a unit here, then it is captured for them, and then the timer starts ticking down. I think it starts at 500 or 550 years, and then once that timer hits 0, years are not actually seconds in this game either, I don't think. Once that timer hits 0, the player that has control of the monument wins. You can get control of the monument back by, of course, killing all the enemy units near the monument, or if someone like leaves it unattended. Now, if anyone has any questions or something like that, I will start reading the chat again now, and I'd be happy to answer them. Feel free to put @Resonance22 in there, and then that makes it a little bit easier for me to read. Stoke and Tyrannus need to fix whatever's going on here, because that's the game just started, so we shouldn't have stuttering on this level, but both of them are experiencing quite some difficulties. We'll see. But that's why we got that res lag emote. Michael Decker says, oh, okay, I thought so too. Maybe you'll have better at UC Davis. Yes, we shall see. I'm looking forward to that. So, another interesting thing here, which should hopefully mean that the game doesn't go on for too long, would be that, yeah, since this is migration, players start on a very small island with limited amounts of resources. Actually, no boar, which is something that I think messes up a lot of players' early game starts. Without a wild boar, you kind of have to adjust your build order a little bit. You have your deer, you have your forage bushes and sheep, but you do not actually have access to boar. And then, yeah, eventually you're going to run out of resources on this island. I mean, you do have a reasonable amount of gold and stone here, but it's just not enough. Especially trees are going to be an issue. So players will, once they get to the feudal age, or perhaps even in the dark age, they will utilize transport ships to move villagers onto the center island and start contesting the center hill. In the Forgotten and African Kingdoms expansions, you can actually build transport ships in the Dark Age, which is pretty cool. Play Time Splitter says, if you ally with a Portuguese player, do you get free cartography? I don't think so, but I'm not entirely sure. Play Time Splitters. Linus123XBB says, what is the duration of a year in game? Not exactly sure. I think it's a little... What are you, a year is a little longer than a second? Kevin Sweck L says, evening Rez, how are you today? I'm doing great. A little tired, but doing good. Welcome to the stream, Kevin. Alright, so let's go switch around to Zamax's perspective. I really hope that Stoke, because I don't want to sit through the stuttering for this entire game. I'm sure that most of the players don't want to either. So Stoke, if you're listening or you're running something in the background, perhaps you're streaming music from some website. If you have like other programs in the background, Google Chrome might be causing your computer to run slowly. I'm sure you can't hear me now, but if anyone for some reason is still listening, I don't think I have any of these players on my friends list. If you do, send them a message perhaps. That way we could get Stoke to close any excess programs. Visby says, I had a dream where you were narrating my sex life. Please get out of my head. Oh my, Visby. Oh my. Alright, let's see. Laircoon says, how did you come up with your name and why does it end in 22? That's a good question, Laircoon. So, I wanted a fresh start after I moved on from my Illuminite channel, and I ended up naming myself Resonance 22 after one of my favorite Animusic videos, Resonant Chambers. And the 22 is just something easy to remember. Ryan Pack says, what kind of tactics do you think will be used? I'll explain that in a second. I won't be able to answer everyone's questions, so if I miss out on some of them, then feel free to ask it again in a few minutes. Is this map generation normal? Is this normal? Does the gold and the stone, can I actually spawn that close? I mean, I guess it can. Has it always been that close? This seems more reasonable. This seems ridiculous. So in terms of tactics on migration, I guess in free-for-all it would be a little bit different, but migration's different than other water maps in that you don't actually have to always go for a very fast feudal age into, galleys. We call this a galley rush strategy, very, very common on water maps. Of course, in African kingdoms, players have access to a wider variety of ships, the demo raft and the fighter galley in the feudal age, which does mix things up a little bit. Thank you, Super Ranger, for the sub. Much appreciated. This is your 1-year anniversary. I do not play Clash of Clans Air Bump, but I've considered it. This map is migration. Yes. Oh, Mystic Tube. I always explain how to play in my streams every time right before the game, I do a little drawing. So yeah, you don't actually have to go for a fast feudal age into galleys. Galley rush is actually kind of optional on this map. You could, and the reason being, compared to something like Islands, is the rush distance on this map is just a lot further. You have to travel a significantly greater distance to actually get to your opponents. And maybe we should remake this with 2 different players. I mean, it's up to the players in the actual game itself. They should maybe discuss it. It's up to them. Let's see. Almost Rapi says the turtle means CPU lag. Yes. So they would have to close programs running in the background. Although there does appear to be a little bit of ping too, but it's mostly like a frame rate thing. The game should not be running this slowly at the start. Like sometimes, since it's not that well optimized, it starts lagging a little bit on people's PCs. As time goes on, frame rate drops. That's understandable, but at this point, there's nothing really going on. Hope Rides Alone says it took way too long for me to realize there was a spectating, not playing. Yep. Spectating this one at your guys' request. So usually what you'll see on migration, as opposed to a galley rush, is players will sit in the Dark Age for a little bit longer than usual, and they'll start booming up with fishing ships. So they'll make a ton of fishing ships in the Dark Age, more than the standard 4 that we see on more, I guess, open water maps. And this is because, you have to float around past the corners of the islands, and it can actually take a while to get to your opponent, more so in like a 1v1 especially, and maybe in a team game, but I guess if you're doing a free-for-all, then you're not that far away from your opponent, so galley rush still probably works. And another benefit of a galley rush, of course, would be that you can, you abuse the fact that your opponent has such a small island, you can attack his villagers, harass them from the ocean, and do a lot of economic damage to them, so that's a plus. Usually we'll see players, though, they go for like a more heavy fish boom, build up a very strong economy, get to the feudal age a little bit slower, perhaps even fast castle age, or they'll just go for a very delayed galley push. Simpudney, hello, he says, what's the best Christmas present you've ever received, or what did you appreciate the most of all time? That is a really tricky question, and I'd have to think about that for a long time to give you my best answer. So I will say, without giving it too much thoughts, I have like this, I think it's called an ecosphere, and I always thought that that was a really, really cool one. Yeah, a couple of years back, it was like 2 years ago, my ex-girlfriend gave me a teddy bear and a very, very sweet card, so that was a nice present as well. Slender asked, where do babies come from? Stork. Orion Pax asked, what does ping actually mean? That means, like, that's basically a measure of how long it takes for other players to send data between each other's, computers over the internet connection. So, if you have a very high ping, that means it's taking a while to send packets to people, and that means the game's going to run slower. I hope the game isn't going to stutter this hard the entire time, otherwise we might switch it to fast. Oh, man. Rocker asked, what civs would you like to see in a future expansion if there is one? I actually think that we have plenty of civs here, and that I don't know if I necessarily want to see anymore. I would rather see more content, like more standard-ish maps, rather than the ones with the weird starts. maybe, you know, campaign DLC, something like that I'd be more interested in. Okakolalaponix says, could you give me a link to the texture pack you're using? You can find it in the video description of every video I upload. I don't know if this one has been updated, though. It's Manu's HD texture pack version 2. Oh, of course, Caster, I played Age of Empires with cheats. Probably not an easiest, except maybe my first game. And welcome, Russian Accent. So, yeah, start's going to be a little bit slow because things are stuttering. Tyrannus and Stoke need to make sure that they close Google Chrome, and they have no other programs running besides Steam and Age of Empires 2. And then that might actually help. There's also a little bit of that good old ping in the background, so if anyone can hear me speak right now, make sure to pause that. So if we take a look at the game itself, well, nothing is really happening yet. It looks like Foghorn has a relatively high amount of fishing ships, so he's ready to sit back, and I think that this is a wise idea, at least for Foghorn, because, well, if we go to his perspective, like, you know, he's in the corner of the map, right? So he's going to be pretty far away, pretty isolated from his opponents. In fact, his closest opponent is Zamax, so maybe he should be allying with Zamax, because otherwise it's going to be really difficult for Riggsism to actually push alongside, you know, get along, you know, move past this peninsula and start harassing Foghorn. Foghorn, our purple player, I'll probably refer to the players mostly by their color to make it a little easier to keep track of. Our purple friend over here is a very long rush distance from Riggsism, and I think he'll be able to protect this choke point quite easily. So if he, you know, allies with Zamax, then he would be in a very, very good position. Naturally as well, I would assume that Riggsism and Tyrannus will make natural allies, and since the spectators take up one player spot in Aoe2 HD, this means that also there's going to be some imbalances. There are going to be groups of players, there's perhaps going to be a team that's just a little bit bigger. We'll have to see who ends up getting isolated, or if we have a super team of 3. Welcome, Jim Hoppa. Good to see you. I wish you a Merry Christmas as well. Thank you. I hope that everything's going well in your life, too. Welcome, Bob Jimmy. Always a pleasure to have you. Interesting. I have no idea. Okakolalaponix. We'll see, Piss Everywhere. It depends what people would like to see, but I did this at your guys' suggestion. And yeah, I'm definitely interested in giving this a shot, so I'm curious. Okay, so I can use this to continually check. So it looks like Foghorn is currently allied with Snizbat. Okay, so Foghorn is actually allied with Gray. Oh, that's really... Okay, so Purple and Gray are on a team, even though they're both on polar opposite sides of the map. And it looks like Riggsism, our yellow player over here, is also going to ally with Purple. So we're already getting a little bit of an alliance here. We have Gray, Yellow, and Purple on the same team, and I suppose that everybody else will be on the opposing team. So we swap back to Tyrannus' perspective. He's actually only allied with Purple. What? I wish there was an easier way for me to keep track of this, but it won't update in the scoreboard. Thank you, Simpudney, for the subscription. Really, really appreciate it. Alt-G? Alt-G for what? Is that for team colors? I mean, I could do that, but then it's going to be, you know, because, like, these players could betray each other at any point. So I'm not sure if I want to switch to team colors. That might make things really confusing. Either way, Prime Troll Jr. is one of the first players in this game to actually land. If we swap over to Prime Troll Jr.'s perspective, looks like he's, so far, doing quite nicely. He will be landing over here, building a market, and attracting this wolf, who will be slowly stuttering in over here to attack this villager. And it looks like the timer has started. Yes, it's 550 years. Zamax, the Green Britons player, the Green Britons has control of the center monument, and now everybody on Zamax's team will be victorious once that timer hits 0. But the funny thing with King of the Hill, actually, is... Actually, I don't know about King of the Hill diplomacy, right? Because does this mean that at the last minute you could just... Oh, yeah, what happens if you set everybody to enemy? Yeah, what happens if you set everybody enemy and the timer hits 0? Interesting. Yeah, if I swap to team colors, I can easily see allies, but then if I switch people's perspectives, we won't be able to see... We won't be able to actually tell who's who. Things will get really confusing, and also alliances will keep changing, which will make things really difficult to keep track of people, so I'm not actually sure if team colors will actually fix anything at all. We'll see. Yeah, I guess you would have to set Allied Victory, wouldn't you? I'm not exactly sure how the King of the Hill free-for-all mechanics work with diplomacy, as I've done plenty of King of the Hill free-for-all games, but I've never done it on diplomacy, where you can just shift alliances at will. I hope that these players have indeed closed their background applications, as this is gonna be a long one. Maybe we'll have to switch it to fast speed an hour in. Looks like, though, we're gonna see some combat as Stoke is engaging upon Tyrannus's. little red galley, so the red galley is going to have to run away from the small group of orange Ethiopian ones. Perhaps Tyrannus was a little bit too far out. It looks like Snizbat is going to start boarding his villagers, so Gray will be landing next. Thank you, Save the Boars, for your subscription as well. Much appreciated. Right now, Riggs isn't preparing for war, and it looks like Purple and Green are indeed on a team, and yeah, Purple is actually stationing his army right outside of Green's base. I think. Is he actually going to fire a shot? Or is he just here waiting? Is he on his team, or is he looking for blood? Because he just fired a shot. Oh, God, he's actually looking for blood. Okay, so, go to Zamax's perspective. He is indeed only on a team with Gray and Teal. So it's Green, Gray, and Teal. This is going to be so hard to keep track of. Because players keep swapping alliances. So it's a shame that these two aren't on the same team, because geographically I feel like they'd make natural allies. And now, well, Green's going to get punished really hard for this. In a situation where he's surrounded by galleys like such, I don't think that making his own galleys will be the right call here. He probably should make like fire galleys or fire ships. Unfortunately, he will need the war galley upgrade before he's able to make fire ships. So that's gonna be tricky business. But it looks like Teal is here to rescue Green. Teal will be clearing out all of Purple's galleys here. The Vikings, of course, a monster on the water, and well, really, like, Green won't be able to get out enough ships to deal with this. I think a couple of fire ships would be great against a small group of galleys. So I would like to see something like that, but we'll have to keep our eyes peeled and see where the game goes from here. And let's see another transport ship on the loose. In terms of the center island, it looks like, well, right now we have Prime Troll Jr. floating here. Green still in control of the center monument. Gray will be one of the first players to actually put a town center in the middle of the map. We have two players, actually it's 3 players in the Castle Age now. So we have Gray, Green, and Orange. Gray will be putting his town center right about here. Hidden, unseen, in the middle of the map. Meanwhile, Green, our Britain's player, does indeed have the War Galley upgrade. No Bodkin Arrow yet, because he's just a little bit short on gold. And right now we can see that the tech advantage, like War Galleys versus Galleys, is of course favorable for the War Galley, but he just doesn't have the numbers to deal with this. Thankfully, though, Teal will be able to back him up. Teal on a team with Green, and then he should be able to slowly, eventually clean up this navy. So, yeah, Green should be fine here. He just has to find something where he can assign his villagers. He has so much food, so I like that he's reassigning his farmers. I think that's smart. So he's just definitely not going to need all that food. And he's so low on wood because this, little forest is actually being sieged from the ocean. The water looks super nice twistified because of Manu's HD Texture Pack version 2, which I don't think has actually been updated, unfortunately, in a while. So it might not work on the current version of Aoe2 HD, but maybe it does. I installed all of my mods manually, so I don't actually use the Steam Workshop for too much, just because sometimes when, the game updates, it breaks some things, so I actually installed this mod, like, when I got the game around then, whenever it was released, and then I've just been, manually, overwriting the terrain files since then, so that way I don't need to deal with any, like, patch 4.0 nonsense where all my mods lose compatibility. You can just copy all the files, no problem. Although I do think I lost my Tetsuo's Cliff mod, but that's okay. Mug100 says, Rez, I attempted to stream last night with internet with 5 up and 0.6 down. It was over 1,000 ping and didn't work. I had the settings cranked way down. Is this the limiting factor? Do I need a better internet connection to stream? Fear not, my friend, Mug. It would make it easier for me to read your questions if you put Resonance 22 in it, because then it gives me that little black box. I have a terrible internet connection as I live in the United States, where, like I mentioned earlier, we have freedom from good internet. I live very close to the Google, Google offices, but we don't have Google Fiber here. You don't need a good internet connection to stream, but it needs to be okay. You feel free to tinker with your bit rates. I would say that 1,000 is still fine, so 1,000 bit rate. Depends on what game you're playing. 1,000 bit rate should be okay. You can tinker with the quality balance, but really something that might make a big difference, Mug. There's like a low latency mode, which might help. These are all things in Open Broadcaster software, which I'm assuming you're using. So there's a low latency mode, like minimize network impact, and you'll also want to make sure that you go to the video settings and you set the resolution downscale to 1.5. This will set the resolution from like 1080p to 720p, which is generally speaking perfect for all your streaming needs. Meanwhile, Foghorn TV on an absolute rampage, tearing right through this navy, not a fire ship in sight, and right now Green is panicking. He's like, wait, crap, I'm gonna die. Goddamn Vikings. Yeah, he has to get an emergency transport ship and GTFO off this island as fast as possible. I'm a little surprised, actually, that Green hasn't left his island yet at all. And you might regret this because this transport ship might not come on out in time. We'll have to see. Tendency, yes, there's an option to set the game speed to faster, but right now it's just running slowly because Stoke and Tyrannus seem like our orange and red players seem to be experiencing a lot of low frame rate. Meanwhile, the timer is ticking down, so Green's still in control of this. While Green does not actually have any villagers on the center island, he does have control of the center monument, so if no one steals it back, he'll still win the game anyway. 493, 96 years left. Yellow docked on the middle island, putting down some archer ranges and a barracks. Red is here as well with a couple of archers. This gate's really cute, actually. Those knights won't be able to get there without pathing the long way. And oh, yes, Red has the map vision. He's the Incas player, of course. These archers will not be good enough, though. I'm not sure it's the right decision to, walk them through the gates, because that means that they're just going to be sitting ducks here. 2 archers not going to cut it against those knights. Meanwhile, Zamax on the run is going to grab a couple of villagers, land them on the center island. We have almost every player is actually already in the middle, and now things are getting a little bit crazy. So let's swap back to Foghorn's perspective over here. He's basically going to clean up Green entirely, so I think Green's already dead. And Purple is allied with Gray, Yellow, and Red. So it's Purple, Gray, Yellow, and Red, which conveniently is actually all the teams on the left-hand side. So you see these guys? These are the big 4. And then I suppose... Wait, yeah, Gray as well, so they're a team of 4. Oh my goodness. So that means that these are the team of 3, Green, Teal, and Orange. Absolutely devastating. I like Teal's decision to throw in some fire ships, though. That might be good enough against these. War galleys will have to see if the buffs to fire ships make them a strong enough counter. You have to capture the wonder, not destroy it, Linera. Gamer0 says, so Red, out of curiosity, how would I go about joining one of these games? Oh, Gamer0, I always explain it every time right before the game starts, but since we're in the middle of the game, I'm not going to start setting up for the next one. I do a drawing system, so if you meet the rating requirement, you would just follow the instructions on the screen, you type like !play or whatever, and it puts you in. But I make it so the players can't win 2 streams in a row. That way, players who've never gotten a chance to play with me get a chance. Meanwhile, Orange, with a somewhat sizable navy over here, no bodkin arrow for him, and... well, really, a lot of players are neglecting the naval side of things, except for more or less Purple. I see that Red has a big army. No bodkin arrow either. I think it's interesting that a lot of players are prioritizing careening over bodkin arrow. I think careening, the extra movement speed, is better if you have, like, fire ships, but I would probably get bodkin arrow first before careening if I was making war galleys, because the extra range really just decides engagements. And Teal will lose one of his fire ships for free as they are stuttering along on the ground. Stop motion, Age of Empires 2. Oh, man. So, basically, here's how it's gonna go. So, these 3 fellows, Orange, Teal, and Green, are almost definitely screwed this game. They're going to have a rough time. And then what it's gonna boil down to is once those players are weakened, our super team, the big 4, are going to start double-crossing each other at a rapid rate. Big naval engagement going on over here. Hopefully there's not too much action going on elsewhere. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to watch all of it at the same time. Teal swarming with the fire ships. He has no careening, so he's missing out on a little bit of extra pierce armor, and we'll have to see if Foghorn can still win this game. Well, okay, like, here's the problem, though, is that that's so many fire ships here from Teal, so even though Purple has such a massive score, Teal will be able to push him out. There's sort of a combat triangle on the water, but it doesn't quite work like a combat triangle. At least in African Kingdoms and the Forgotten, it works a little bit more like one. The idea being that fire ships beat galleys, galleys beat demolition ships, galleys beat demolition ships beat fire ships, and fire ships beat galleys, yes. Of course, you will never mass up demo ships, but making a couple of them against fire ships is great. And yes, we can see that Prime Troll Jr. pushing this back despite a lack of careening, missing 1 additional pierce armor. It doesn't matter. Purple does indeed have a large army of reinforcements closing in. There's actually a lot of stuff going on right now that I'm going to miss out on, but I do want to showcase this battle a little bit longer. With Bracer, though, he's going to be able to do a good amount of damage here, and we'll see how this fight goes. Twistified says this chat is to be the most friendly Twitch chat in existence. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I try to keep it a very friendly and welcoming environment. Dun dun dun! Red, moving out with his army, is probably going to swing by over to Orange, but Orange does have the bodkin arrow upgrade. Red does not, so he will be at a little bit of a tech disadvantage. Now, ooh, Teal on the back foot does have to run away from Purple's army. Remember, these are the big 4 versus the little 3. But alliances may shift and change over time, and meanwhile, the clock is ticking. As funny as it is, Green has had control of the monument for the entire time, and actually, it's... yeah, he's had it for about 200 years now. Once this hits 0, he's going to win the game, and I believe if he has Allied Victory checked, all of them win the game at the same time? Not exactly sure how it works, but whoa! Green out of nowhere with a ton of demolition ships. Sweet, sweet revenge. Bet you forgot about me, he says, as he cleans up a good chunk of Purple's navy. And with that navy, wow, that's going to give, actually, that's going to give the smaller team massive amounts of map control. Teal on fire this game, literally, and he is going to just mop up the rest of that navy. So yeah, of course, Green down but not out. His buildings are on fire, most of his villagers trapped here, but he is the Britons, I believe, so this means that he can build tons of town centers in the middle of the map. Well, I say that, but it looks like he's about to get denied. I think that Green will be able to get this town center up before these crossmen kill those villagers, but it's going to be so close. It's at like 99, 98%. Devastating to look at, and oh no, these villagers going down. Some hot Britons on Britons action, but this is just an unfortunate situation. Green going to run out of villagers on the mainland. He's going to lose this one as well. He has a small group over there, but those crossmen in the right place at the right time. Meanwhile, though, Teal putting a castle up over here to reinforce this area, and Gray also putting one there as well. Things are getting a little bit dicey already. Without that town center up, I mean, really, like, Green has, like, no space to build left on the mainland. It's unfortunate that migration has a little bit of, like, hilly terrain, because this means that it can be difficult to actually find a place to settle. Meanwhile, wait, are these two actually fighting each other? I thought they were on the same team. Well, at least Purple is allied with all of them. Oh, looks like Red's gonna get a successful conversion off here, so let's go swap to Rigsism's perspective. Whose team is he on? So he's with Gray and Purple, but he's not with Red. Okay, so Red, the lone soldier. Sandwich between mortal enemies. Wait, but I'm curious, is Red allied with Gray? Because now things are gonna get really weird. Red is allied with Gray, so we have the super team, which are these four, right? Purple, yellow, red, and gray. That's the super team. But there's already some infighting going on over here. As well, red and yellow share the same allies, but they're not allied with each other. So even though, you know, geographically you think they'd make natural allies since they're both, well, surrounded by allies, they're actually enemies. So red and yellow duking it out over here. For some reason, they haven't decided to ally with each other, and as a result, it's going to be absolute chaos. Good news is, though, Teal with a great castle placement on the hill. I believe it means that it'll do a little bit of extra damage downhill. Thank you, Spirit of the Law, for exploring the mechanics for us in great detail. Yeah, this would be a great way to protect Green's town center here, as his knights are going to stutter along before they inevitably get stuck on those camels and villagers, slam right into this poor guy who doesn't even flinch. And yeah, they're going to go run the other way. Meanwhile, Gray, putting castles everywhere. Apparently no one's going to stop him. He's trying to sort of split the monument area in half, and now he has control of the center monument. One thing that's very interesting about King of the Hill is that once the timer goes below 100 years, if the monument swaps ownership, then the timer actually resets back to 100 years. But it doesn't go above 100 years anymore beyond that. Still, though, if you're going to actually win the game, you better be able to hold it for 100 years. And what the hell? This ally system is going to be so confusing. So wait. Green and Gray are in the same team? They are now. Things are getting very, very strange. Players on the same team, sharing allies and not sharing enemies. Hello, Cinepolito. Welcome! Yes, you can find the schedule below, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you. But meanwhile, here's one rivalry that we can be sure of. There's not too many things in this game that are absolutes, but the rivalry between Purple and Green is going to be one of them. Green, his days are numbered. He's running out of time, and I hope that these are his, well, you know, evacuation docks, as he's going to have to somehow find a place where he can put all of his villagers on the center island free from enemies. This is disgusting, actually. Green might win the game just off allied victory with Gray, because Gray has two castles over here which were built unopposed. He has some stone walls. He's fortifying this entire area, and yeah, Green's got a couple knights to back this up. He might lose his island, but really the objective is the center. Elite Goat, if I'm switching between player colors, that doesn't actually fix anything. I'm sure that I'll get a lot of comments telling me to use friend or foe colors, but that won't actually do anything, because remember, not everybody is on the same team with everybody else. The teams aren't solid, they're changing all the time. Things will get very confusing, and every time I switch player perspectives, we'll have no idea who anyone is. See, Primeful Jr. is like, Gray, are you allied with Green or not? The alliances keep changing. I'll be swapping player perspectives, and the thing is that even though Purple is on the same team with Yellow, Red, and Gray, Yellow and Red are not on the same team with each other, even though they share all the other same allies, so friend or foe colors will not actually work here. Mug says, I'm using an open source program recommended by Twitch. It should be Open Broadcaster software. If you're not using that, it's by far the most lightweight one, very easy to use. So you're forced to stream it. No, you don't have to stream at 1920 by 1080 in order to see the game. Use 1.5 resolution downscale. It will not reduce the quality. If anything, you can turn up the bitrate, you can turn up the quality balance by reducing the resolution a little bit. 720p versus 1080p is not actually a massive difference. Hello, Catharsis. Yes, it has actually been a good game so far. A little bit stuttery, but that's absolutely okay. Meanwhile, purple, gray, and orange in the Imperial Age at the top of their game, but he is surrounded by an army of fire ships. Still no careening yet from our teal friend, but yeah, green not going down without a fight. These demolition ships doing a good amount of damage here. The explosions on this clumped up purple navy, and once again, teal's decision to make fire ships paying dividends. One interesting thing to note is that purple has been focused so hard on the navy this game that he's actually running out of resources on his own island, so it's time for a mass exodus. Pack these villagers up. They're going on a cruise straight to this paradise in the middle of the map. And yeah, he actually has no presence in the middle right now except for this one stone mine. Meanwhile, absolute chaos in the middle of the map as gray has double-crossed green. Let's swap back to Snizbat's perspective. It looks like, yeah, they've actually been double-crossed. I'm doing my best to keep track of this, but you can only imagine how difficult that actually is, as players don't share the same allies with each other. Yeah, it looks like gray actually double-crossed green. He's like, this is my monument now. JK about that alliance, friend. And, well, teal trying to find a place where he can settle too, but yellow's still hostile to him. In a world where nothing is absolute, gray has map control. A couple of cavaliers guarding this and these two castles. I think it was the smart decision on gray's part to double-cross green, as green probably not going to be the most valuable asset in this case. But you know who will be? Our friend, Mr. Orange. The great Ethiopian Empire is moving in to reinforce this. And orange and green are looking to be, gray and orange are going to be a very, very strong group. Meanwhile, the pressure is on. Now that orange is here to reinforce, gray is ready to deploy his trebuchets, and green's running out of time. This town center is not in a safe location at all, and here come the pikemen. Trying to click on them, but in HD it's very difficult to do that. This trebuchet will be able to siege this very, very carefully. I think this is green's only town center on the mainland. Okay, he's building one over here, which is fine. Yeah, he just needs one somewhere, and a castle here as well to protect it on the coastline. So, Prime Troll Jr., our teal friend over here, is doing his best to protect green. He has a very sizable navy. He's been winning basically every naval battle on this game, very, very decisively, but can he win the game? That is the question. Dun, dun, dun. Orange and gray, right now they're completely in control of the center, and it looks like gray is also going to start poking at yellow. Yellow's town center not going to last either. He's going to need another one if he can, and he does have one over here. So yellow and purple on the same team. Going to try and make a desperate bid for the center. One thing that, might be a problem is that purple has invested so much on the water that he has, almost no presence in the mainland. And if purple and yellow want a chance to win this and secure it from the orange and gray super duo, then they're going to have to start making some military soon. Time is running out. Radvinsky says, why does everyone seem to refer to ships as army? Why not navy? It's just easier for people to understand. No particular reason. Diplomat says, save my sheep. Will do, friend. Yes, this is devastating indeed. Sometimes I call it a navy. I call it a little bit of both, Either way, I would like to see some archer defense upgrades for orange, as he has none, and no chemistry either, but of course bracer is more important than all of them. If we take a look at this, Snizbat does have bloodlines, +2 on both sides, offense and defense, but he could still use the final level 3 upgrades for the attack and defense. Meanwhile, it looks like orange will be reinforcing the center with yet another castle, so we have 3 castles over here, 200 years left. If the other players in this game want to win this game, they're going to have to, they're going to have to gang up on orange and gray. They're too strong. They could very easily win this game themselves if the other team, the other players don't stop bickering. They must put aside their differences, become friends, and stop this juggernaut. They're gonna have to team up, man. Oh, jeez. I'm glad that yellow and red have stopped fighting each other in the meantime, because really, it's all about winning the game. That's what really counts here. And if they want to win the game, then they're gonna have to set up an alliance with each other. Well, red's got one hell of an army over here. I expect him to bring it forward as soon as the timer gets too low. That way he'll be able to steal it back at the last minute and maybe just secure a win. But he still has to hold it for 100 years, so you might want to push out before, orange and gray become too strong. And these guys are also like natural allies as well, because geographically, both of their islands are incredibly close to each other. Orange has a very small number of farms, comparatively. Yeah, he's a very, very small number of farms. That should be okay. He actually has a reasonable amount of food anyway, so yeah. He's looking good, and meanwhile, teal and green sitting back. Green trying his best to build back up, but he's got, no space. And really, purple still trying his best to clear green off the surface of this game. Is it going to be worth it, though? Because the real threat is this army, the orange and gray army over here. I don't know if it's worth trebbing this castle, honestly. I think that green and teal aren't the biggest threat here. And then, you know, since purple is aggroing these two guys, he's hogging their attention, that means that green and that gray and orange just get free reign over the middle of the map. But I don't expect red to stand for this. Yes, he is slowly lagging his army towards the middle of the map. These long spearmen, as I like to call them, marching forward, backed by a petard, a couple of monks, and a bunch of pikemen. Not the scariest army I've seen. A lot of these players do need to get to the Imperial Age if they want to remain a threat. Castles, you can remove them with the battering rams, but it's much safer to get to the Imperial Age and just build a couple trebuchets, siege them from an incredibly safe distance with almost no risk. Meanwhile, orange and gray still fortifying the center of the map as much as they can with so many of these stone walls, castles, and everything. They're all discussing their allied victory right about now. If we go back to purple's perspective, actually, is he allied with any of these guys? Okay, actually, wait, no, purple is allied with gray, but not orange. What? This game's so confusing. Purple is still allied with gray, red, and yellow. Okay, so he still has the same allies that he's had all game, but, like, they're not all friends with each other, which is absolutely bizarre. So, wait, okay, so the reason that purple doesn't want to engage here is because he's actually allied with gray, but not with orange. So, purple has to make a decision. If he wants to win the game, like, I don't know. This is going to be really, really tricky. Because, yeah, he's allied with gray, but not... Oh, my God. Yeah, but not orange. So, well... But yellow is his ally, so is he going to defend yellow? I don't know. Perhaps yellow should try and use that as negotiations. Sim Putney asks, how can I donate without PayPal? I'm not sure. I think it maybe only works with PayPal, but PayPal should be easy to use. Either way, I'm just glad to have you as a sub and just have you in general, Sim Putney. Thank you for asking. Perhaps I could add some sort of other alternative method. What works for you? Well, in the meanwhile, orange advancing his army forward. Purple, not the greatest ally in the world, not protecting yellow here. Poor Rigsism. Crumbling underneath the pressure and 160 years remaining for orange and gray. These guys better work together if they want to take down these juggernauts. Such a complex, confusing series of alliances going on here, but someone's got to double cross these guys if they want to win. Anyway, so who are orange and gray actually allied with? So who wins the game here if the clock hits 0? So red wins the game. Purple wins the game. Okay, so basically these guys just lose. So gray, yellow, and teal are the losers here if this super alliance goes on. Although I guess it's technically Snizbat, our gray player, who's in control. So yeah, it's teal, yellow, and green that lose the game if this alliance goes on. Will we see any double crossing, or are they just going to try and make it a clean victory? It sucks, man, because like yellow's on the same team with purple, but he's getting no backup at all. Linus says, how long is required for me to have been following the stream to have a chance to win the drawing? Oh, I don't really enforce that much. You just have to follow it in general. So there's no requirement. You can follow instantly right before the drawing. Yeah, purple just wants to keep bullying green. Exactly, Golden Cage. These fellows must put aside their differences. They can beat the dynamic duo. Oh, maybe they're running out of time, actually. I'm really surprised that these players are content to just roll with it and all gang up on poor yellow and poor green. Oh, jeez. This is going to be tricky business. So green just has no space to build, I feel. Maybe I should have even made the map size giant so that there'd be more space to settle in the center of the map, and then it might even take a lot longer. Oregon Gun's coming out for a Portuguese player. Meanwhile, Orange is moving up with his army. Still might want to grab some of those upgrades, though. And missing chemistry, still missing all the defensive blacksmith upgrades, but the ranged ones are definitely more important for those ranged units. Meanwhile, looks like red did make it to the Imperial Age. Green, not quite. And, well, yellow going to get completely ran off this island. And orange is orange going to push in here on purple, or is orange just going to... Is he going to remain peaceful here? Are they content to just let the game end like this? We'll have to see. Either way, teal and green could start mounting a counterattack. They are the main opposition here, as unfortunately, well, yellow is having a rough game. He has no presence on the center of the map left except for this one villager, and he's getting sieged from the ocean. He has no wood left. Well, he actually has a reasonable amount of resource left in the starting island. But his score is low. He's looking a little bit weak. Meanwhile, everybody landing more villagers on the middle of the map. Teal trying his best to harass with some fire ships, but that's a large navy from the orange Ethiopians. A couple of fire ships here won't do the trick, and we see the weakness of fire ships here. While they're very good against galleys, they're a little bit weaker against massed armies of galleys, since the fire ship might die before it actually gets a chance to attack, because it's such short range. Also, they offer almost no sort of offensive pressure to things on the land. You know, the range is so short that they can't actually harass those villagers very efficiently. Indeed, Ladiak, we do have 500 plus villagers, which is the most, viewers, which is the most I've had in a while, so I'm very, very happy about that. Hope you guys are enjoying your stay, and I'd love to see you all in the future. Bogus Bogus says, love castings and vids from Resin Zero. Glad to hear it, man. Oh, and it looks like red is going to double cross green, then gray and orange. So yeah, trying to keep track of all the player colors. Oh my god, this is tyrannous, right? Yeah, that's such his perspective. So red is going to actually double cross the dynamic duo of gray and orange. These two powerhouses, red in a desperate bid to secure control of the center. This sudden alliance change will allow him to actually catch gray off guard and take down a castle, but he still hasn't been able to definitively secure control of the center of the map. These Organ guns still there holding the line. They're actually not elite yet, which is important to note. And, well, yeah, in the meantime, they've actually, yeah, red has coordinated this with teal so that teal's going to swing in here, clear up all those villagers. This castle not going to go up. We might see a comeback here. This battle is so close, but red has nothing to deal with this backline from gray that's just holding on here. Orange might want to move up a couple of his arbs, but in the meantime, this castle might go down too. There are actually no villagers repairing this. There are a bunch of villagers over here, but they've been walled out by his own walls. And if this castle goes down, that's 2 castles missing for gray. Stone is a finite resource. Sure, he can buy more at the market, but oh man, this is going to be tricky. Steve says, oh, hello, Steve. Good to see you again. I haven't seen you in quite a while. He says, you haven't played Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds in some time. That is true. It's one of the most difficult games to stream from a tech perspective, and while I do get a lot of requests for it, I think it's something that I would rather do, like, single player for, maybe like a campaign. Streaming it is incredibly difficult. Like, not only does the Fog of War render really poorly, but some people are interested in watching, some people aren't. My internet connection, like, I'd have to have like a really high bitrate for it to actually be watchable. The Fog of War is really, really weird. So it's difficult for me to get settings in a way that is readable. The game is like old and buggy. We can't play versus bots because they, for some reason, go out of sync on Boobly a lot. So I'm not exactly sure why that's the case. And then balancing teams is really tricky because some people just don't play the game. Thank you, Eric, for the resub. 14-month anniversary. Much appreciated. Well, okay, so Red's betrayal here was smart and cheeky, and it put him near the top of the standings, but will it be good enough? I'm not exactly sure, as, well, gray and orange have somehow managed to hold the line, and we're at 84 years remaining, so these players better think of something. So it looks like purple, teal, and red are all on some massive super teams, so I actually think that orange and gray have their backs against the wall. The orange and gray better keep their alliance, though. If they have a last-minute betrayal there, that would be devastating. Because, yeah, they're both going to need to hold the line here if they want to win the game. So basically, every player in this game is now versus orange and gray. Casual Produces, what is your opinion on dank memes? I think memes are hilarious, man. Most of them are pretty funny. Well, a couple of these monks here got some good conversions earlier on in the game, and a lot of anti-cavalry stuff here for red will be fantastic. I would like to see more upgrades for all the players, though, because the Incas do get elite cameos. They do get access to halberdiers, and there are a lot of blacksmith upgrades missing here. I think that would make a massive difference. I can only imagine how strong this backline would be as well if gray actually had elite organ guns here too. And the thing is that red actually has the money for a lot of these upgrades. He might end up losing this here castle, but perhaps not, as there's actually nothing firing at it right now, so he will be able to repair this. In the meantime, these guys are reinforcing, and they're beginning the siege. 64 years remaining. Purple now in a team with everybody else. Oh man, can orange and gray hold it, or will there be a secession of power? We'll have to see. Wow, purple walking his... He's walking his navy across the entire map. Oh, he's going to be bringing his navy around the entire island, of course, to try and poke at all of Gray's villagers, which are looking longingly at the beautiful coastline. Thank you, Bogus Bogus, for the sub. Much appreciated. Steve asked, did you watch The Force Awakens? Personally, I loved it. I did indeed watch it. I would prefer to keep the spoiler talk to a minimum in case some people haven't seen it. I watched it, and yeah, I thought it was surprisingly good. It was, safe is the word. It was very safe, but I had low expectations, and yeah, it was actually, I had a lot of fun with it. Thought it was pretty good. So anyway, it looks like purple will be swinging his navy over here. He's looking for blood. He actually will not be taking out this large group of villagers. And right now, 50 years remaining. These guys still managing to hold it. Gray and orange in control of the middle of the map. They're running out of time. They have to take control of the center of the monuments. You know, they're shoving down the gates, but you know, it's going to be time to move out real soon. That's actually not a very big army. Like, if I'm going to be honest here, that's not the most scary army I've ever seen in the universe. So I do think that they could usurp control here, but they better move out soon, because honestly, 40 years is a lot less time than it seems. And right now, purple beginning his siege. He will destroy that stone wall. Fuck this piece in particular. He's going to... Oh, the volley of 1 damage. Once Orange loses this one specific piece of stone wall, it's GG for him. They're gonna lose the game, and then Foghorn TV will be our champion of the day. Completely ignoring this navy over down here. Could also destroy those archery ranges to limit production. I don't know. I don't know. Perhaps this piece of stone wall is really, really important. 30 years remaining. This is the final fight. Welcome, Clumsco and Velizzi. Welcome to the stream. This is the final fight. Like, they better win this. If Orange and Gray can just maintain control for just a little bit longer, they're going to win the game. This army not actually doing anything from Red at all. They need to clear out these troops. Orange and Gray have them all on stand ground, which, well, while it does mean that they get to, you know, hold control of the center, that half these guys aren't actually doing anything. One of them is going to get converted. 25 years remaining. These guys need to bring in their army as one and just clear out these remaining troops. Will they be able to do it? I actually think they might be able to. One fun trick that you can do on King of the Hill if you're a very mean person is you can bring some siege rams to the center monument because they're so tanky, very hard to kill, and that might buy you just enough time. And speaking of just enough time, with 19 years remaining, it looks like Teal and his teammates will secure control of the center map. And wait, who's Purple shooting at? Is Purple attacking Teal units now? Is this another double cross? Good lord. All right, let's swap back to Foghorn TV. Oh, actually no, we'll go to Prime Troll Jr., our Teal player over here. Wait, Stoke resigned. Stoke is dead, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Stoke is dead. I was kidding about the stone wall thing. I was honestly kidding about that. But yeah, once Stoke lost that one piece of stone wall, this particular one fueled his entire civilization. Oh man, the Artosis stone wall here for our Ethiopian player. Orange is down. He's actually going to resign, thus leaving Snizbat alone, naked, and confused. I can't believe it. He actually quit after losing that one piece of stone wall. I don't know if I would have resigned in a situation like that, but either way, we're down to remaining 6 players. What a twist! Purple clearly knows something that I don't. I guess it was really that important to his strategy. Either way, Teal gonna get double crossed. Let's check out the alliances right now. Ooh, neutral with Purple. So Teal here is still looking for forgiveness. Teal on a team with Green and Yellow, his 2 longtime allies, and Red. But meanwhile, Foghorn TV, he's gone mad with power. And it looks like, yeah, he's actually only on a team with Teal. Interesting. So Purple making one hell of a gambit. Wait, he's only on a team with Teal. Wasn't he just killing Teal's guys? Purple can't make up his mind. He's gone mad with power. Enemies with basically everybody. Or he just killed all of Teal's army and then he set himself to ally with Teal. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? Either way, Purple gonna move in here and now he is the master. Gonna station his army here on stand ground trying to build a castle, and will Purple be able to survive? He's 80 years remaining. He managed to actually take out Orange somehow. The Stoke is still gaining, I think, his, like, villagers gathering resources or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I also think his castle, yeah, his castle's also still killing stuff. Yeah, actually, it's just his castle killing stuff. I don't think that he has any, like, trade cogs or anything that are still gathering. Yeah, I think everything else is idle. So it must just be his castle, which is why Stoke's score is still going up. What a game! Purple still in total control! Oh, Red has finally decided, I'm going to switch my stance, my allied stance, to neutral with Purple or enemies. You know, he's finally realized, maybe this Purple fellow is up to no good. Perhaps someone named Darth Sidious might not be a nice guy. Well, it's a shame. With Orange out of this game, this army is actually just going to serve as a piece of terrain that will body block people, and it looks like, yeah, Teal also is like, wait a minute, I think Purple's gone mad. He's secured complete control of the middle. All of his units getting stuck on this piece of tree, this castle, all those villagers. It's not a very scary army. This game, players just neglecting their upgrades. I know that the Vikings don't get access to bloodlines or anything like that, but no forging, no scale barding armor, nothing. Some weak light cavalry. Meanwhile, Red allergic to upgrades as well. Still only with pikemen with +1, +2. Trying to click an individual arbalist, but unit selection in this game is broken. Nobody has padded archer armor. There are so few players in this game with padded archer armor. Gray doesn't have it either. Did he ever get padded archer armor? No. Okay. Almost nobody has padded archer armor in this game. That's very, very interesting. It's a bad upgrade, guys. Never get it. Does Yellow have padded archer armor? He does. Bless you, Riggsism. Riggsism, show us the way. Meanwhile, everybody ganging up on Purple, trying to clean up all of his stuff. I'm curious to see if this is the right decision, because if Purple messes this up, if Purple doesn't win here, he loses the game, because he just double-crossed everybody on the map. Thank you, Selendra, for the sub. Much appreciated. Hope to see you in the future, my friend. Yeah, so purple just double-crossed everybody in the game, and, well, this means that he's not going to have any presence on the center island anymore, so either he wins the next 30 years or it's GG. Well, I'll have to see. It looks like everybody is actually so preoccupied clearing out all of his other junk that they're not making a push for the center. I think purple might actually win here. Purple, the mastermind, Foghorn TV. The chess master, seeing 30 moves ahead of his opponent, realizes, yes, I'll put all this useless crap over here. They will aggro to my stables, and then they will give me just enough time to secure control of this. There are 30 years remaining. These guys should have engaged a long time ago. Meanwhile, Orange's castle going to be racking up some kills, I presume. 25 years remaining. These guys got to move now. Getting stuck on everything. Oh, there are no castles here for purple anymore, so they just have to clean up the rest of this army. But there are a lot of troops here left. This could be really close. These light cavalry suck, but they do actually have a reasonable amount of upgrades. Can they clear this army out in 20 years? 20 years left. Oh, man. Will purple be able to hold this? 19 years, guys. I'm actually not exactly sure. No, wait, no, purple might barely get his army cleaned up, so perhaps double-crossing everybody. Making that many enemies was not the winning play. Oh, my God. Last time it was like 19 years, I think, and this time, well, purple will get cleaned up at approximately 14 years, and now gray in control yet again. Who's gonna betray who? Oh, purple might have a huge navy parked outside of orange, but it's not doing diddly squat, and now, well, purple just kind of ran out of stuff. Foghorn TV says, GG, 17 years. Oh my God. Now the Super Alliance, everybody versus purple. Complete control of the center of the map, and still Stoke farming kills from the grave, racking up that score. He might be on the bottom, but really his KD is looking great. This castle getting some insane value here. Now, which of these brave souls will have the courage to betray everybody? Green actually going to ally with purple. He's going to be like, JK, man. Just kidding. We've been friends this entire time. Love playing pranks on my friends, man. And it looks like purple, he's woken up. He's decided to inch his army slightly further north. Gonna take a lot of free hits from this orange war galley, because I think he's still allied with orange, but orange not allied with him. From the grave, orange doing great, and actually, wait, no, Rigsism is on the bottom right now. But his one militia will surely be enough to carry this game. Which one of these brave souls will have the courage to betray everybody? We'll have to see. Snizbat, also our gray friend, gonna ally with purple yet again, so alliance is shifting non-stop. Players will eventually soon run out of resources, and well, yeah, maybe I just put it all in one video, maybe I split it in multiple parts. We'll have to see, but you'll find all those in the video description. Well, everybody massing up all our army in the middle. I can't wait for someone to actually just, switch alliances and clean this entire thing up. Orange still getting a ridiculous amount of kills with his castle. These arbalists doing God's work, slaying armies from the grave. When will these guys double-cross each other? Basically, purple is the real loser right now. He's on the back foot here. Forced to make nothing but trash units, running out of gold. He's got basically nothing left. He's got his whole navy, but once again, orange still farming kills. Look at this guy's KD. Resigning was the best decision that he could have possibly made. He is owning everybody. Somehow I want some of Orange's arbalists to just accidentally walk into the center of the map and just, he'll accidentally win the game without even being here. Hello, John Fist. Good to see you, as always. Ivan says, what's your favorite new civ? Probably the Berbers. He says, thank you for the fun stream. Well, thank you for watching, Ivan. Ladiac says, the year is 2050. Legend says, Stoke is still farming kills with his castle to this day. Indeed. But this castle, the MVP of the entire game, is going to go down. All of Orange's civilians going to disintegrate before our eyes. And meanwhile, it looks like Teal is going to be the player who's going to make the bold play. He's going to start fighting everybody. So Teal has split off from the super team, and now we have our green, red, and yellow alliance all massing up troops here. Well, actually, wait. So who's Teal enemy was with? He's enemies with gray, but he's allies with everybody else here. The plot thickens. Well, 50 years remaining, so let's see. How will Teal win this game? Well, so Teal's on a team with everybody but gray. So if they can hold this, then everybody wins the game except for gray, I think. Gray on top of the world for the entire game, but actually going to lose, and holy shit. I can't believe it. I think this actually means that green technically wins the game, right? Oh man, Samax has been having one hell of a tough game this entire time. And please tell me that purple is once again going to double-cross green and park his navy here and go back to what he does best. Purple going to make a return to his roots after so long. He forgot what he stood for, and what he stood for is bullying Green. And Green remembers, of course, his roots as well, which are demo ships, and he's trying to detonate them, but ooh! Oh my god! Those were some of the dirtiest demolition shots I've ever seen, actually. That was crazy. Sam, both these guys come back to their classic, bitter, historical rivalry, as it looks like these four will actually band together against Gray. They were tired of him the entire game. He had controlled the center of the map for oh so very long, and it looks like Green might technically win. Oh my god, but Red has swapped stances with Teal to enemy! That's why they call him Tyrannus, man. Red's era of tyranny begins now. He's actually going to, yeah, just clear out all of Teal's troops, so now Teal no longer gets a slice of the pudding. 25 years remaining, and now Gray... Wait, Gray has control again? From what? Okay, well, Gray has a unit in here somewhere, and he has control of the center, again, for some reason. Well, Purple's Navy, and, well, perhaps his chance of winning the game, but we'll have to see. I mean, I guess he's part of the Alliance, but yeah. Gray suddenly has control again? I have no idea what's going on. Snizbat has changed stances with you to enemy. Yes, so now Prime Troll Jr., our Teal player, is going to get the short end of the stick. Could this go on forever where they just, constantly betray whoever has control of the monument? Was this a terrible idea? I have no idea. At some point, I would like one of them to just let nature take its course. I'm not really sure. Thank you, Jelgus, for the sub. Much appreciated. I have no idea what's going on anymore because they keep betraying the guy who just is, leading the countdown here. And I guess they could keep doing that infinitely, right? Because you guys asked me to spectate a free-for-all diplomacy game, and then everybody's like, okay, that would be cool, but we would like it to end at some point this millennium. And I agreed, so I asked you guys what your ideas were, and a bunch of people suggested, let's make a King of the Hill. That way it has to end eventually. Does it have to end eventually? I'm not really sure. And yes, hello, Tilvardaga. Yes. The frame rate's even worse this game. So yes, I hope that they set it to Allied victory and someone ends this eventually, but yeah. Wait, so now Teal is the one who's going to lose? Either way, I'm just happy that Green is indeed the winner here. Oh man, because Green's had one tough game, and it looks like Purple actually has sided once again with Green, and yeah. Seer for a truce, gonna park this one severely injured galleon. Meanwhile, Green has all his villagers inside their town center on holiday, and we're 60 years remaining. Yeah, Michael Deckers, I'll switch it to fast speed if the game doesn't end soon. Von Wangenigan says, Gray at the Feitoria win in 3 hours. Yeah, perhaps. I mean, I can only imagine how much resources that Snizbat, our Gray Portuguese players, actually generated. Meanwhile, our frame rate is dying, and we have 50 years remaining. What team will come out on top? Who will betray who? Is anybody enemies with each other, besides just Teal? Wait, so I'm on Teal's perspective. He is teamed up with Green, Yellow, and Purple. So he still loses, right? Because Gray is the one with control of the middle. This game is so confusing. Players not sharing the same teams with each other. And Gray's only enemies with Teal, so I think only Teal loses the game, because they have Allied Victory turned on. They mentioned that earlier, which I'm glad. And yeah, now we just have to see, can Teal bribe anybody? What's going to happen now? Perhaps they will swap it to fast speed soon. We go back to Green's perspective. He is enemies with Purple still. Is Purple still allies with him? This is why team colors don't work. Is Purple still allies with him? No, Purple's not. So he just has this one on no attack stance. Okay. I'm gonna go roll with that. Meanwhile, back to Snizbat's perspective. The clock is ticking. I think I will switch it to fast speed. Bloop. Wait, can spectators not change the game speed? Crud muffins. I mean, that makes sense, but I mean, then it would just lock speed, right? Did I unfriend you, Breeze? I'm sorry. I have to periodically unfriend people from my Steam friends list, and I just do it at random, Breeze, so I'm really sorry about that, but it's good to see you again. If I had to guess, it's because I just sort through the friends list by players who were last online. I think you were like last online like a year ago or something, but feel free to friend me again, Breeze. I'm sorry. It's nothing personal ever, and I definitely still remember you. It's just that, I just have to sort through it at random every now and then to make room for fresh blood, so if you get removed from my Steam friends list, feel free to friend me again. It takes me a while to cycle through it. Meanwhile, while we're down to 20 years, it'd be... Okay, Snizbat changed the game speed. Thank you, Snizbat. And 18 years? This is the longest year of my life. Switch it to fast speed. Red's computer. The fan sounds like a vacuum cleaner right now. Will they betray Gray? Betrayal. You can't micro with this? Oh, I know, right? Not like anyone could micro at normal speed. And 12. 10. 9. 8. Well, the clock is ticking. Is no one going to actually betray Gray? So this means that everybody loses. Well, not everybody loses. So this means that Teal loses. That sucks. Oh, man, because Teal, he tried so hard and he got so far. But in the end, this army of Hussars isn't actually going to be enough. No, it's really not going to be. And 2-1-0. Yes! Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy New Year's. Happy holidays. It looks like everybody wins except for Teal and Orange, who lose. There's your free-for-all diplomacy game. The real twist, which I had no idea how this game is actually going to end. Purple double-crossed everybody, but they still let him win in the end? The nicest people. We have the nicest people here. Foghorn TV, mad with power. He saw the opportunity for 1 minute, and he betrayed everybody in the game. Purple went like 1v5, 1v6. Yeah. He took his shirt off, he starts puffing his chest out in the middle of the map, and yet they let him win anyway. Are you kidding me? Oh yeah, well, Orange just resigned. Mate Dude asked, why did Orange resign? Oh, it's because he lost this one little piece of Stonewall. Poor guy. The entire centerpiece to his strategy. The Artos' pylon powering his entire base. Once he lost that to Foghorn TV's play, that might be the best play of 2015 as we're moving up to the end of the year. I think the biggest play of 2015 will probably be when Purple swung his entire navy. He brought his whole navy around the tip of the island, across the entire map, all the way down over here, just to focus fire down this particular piece of Stonewall, while Orange was actually poking him back with like one galley. He focus fired this down. He didn't really do anything else, and once that wall was down, then Orange was like, well, shit, man, I'm done. Can't come back from this, and he resigned, so. And then, yeah, Prime Troll Jr. unfortunately gets betrayed at the end. I'm still really surprised that they actually let Purple win after all of that. Just goes to show. We're all friends deep down. Yeah. Foghorn TV says, for fuck's sake, I tried to betray them all and failed and I still win. Yup, that's the moral of the story, guys. Betray everybody, win anyway. Hello, Mythology. Merry early Christmas to you too. So that's the end of game 1. Alright, let's check out the achievements. Oh, man. Most buildings raised goes to Orange. Actually, I mean, not Orange. It goes to Gray. Actually, Orange's KD wasn't as good as I thought it was, but a lot of those kills were honestly with his castle. So, that was still pretty good. Wow. Purple, of course, the person with the most units killed and units lost due to his epic betrayal of everybody, and he got it down to, was it 14 years? I think it was a very, very small amount. So Purple almost won, and he actually still won anyway, so it just goes to show. Oh, you jokingly invade everybody, betray everybody, and then they're just like, nah, man, it's okay. It happens to the best of us. We all go mad with power every now and then. Wednesdays, man, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Man. Yeah, I would say that Gray definitely earned that win, and so did everybody else, of course, because Gray was just playing out of his mind for the entire game. He's definitely one of the top players the entire way. And what's shocking to me is that Orange was actually one of them that lost. It's a shame that Prime Troll Jr. lost, too, because, you know, he refused to die, constantly fighting against Purple. The big tyrant, the big bully of this game, Foghorn swinging his navy around, messing with Green. But really what I'm the most glad about is that Green somehow managed to win, and that Purple and Green put aside their differences after they both threw their navies into each other like 4 times in a row. What a crazy, crazy game. Fresh Prince says, that was a really funny match. I would love to see more like this as long as there's a way to make it not go on for 10 million years. I agree. We'd have to think of something. I like the idea of a free-for-all diplomacy game. King of the Hill seems like a way to limit the game time, but you could also just keep switching alliances. So maybe there's a better way to do this. Maybe we do a... I like the idea maybe of a free-for-all diplomacy game, but rather than make it King of the Hill, we make it like a time limit. So that way... Well, wait, no, you would just betray everybody when the... I have no idea. Maybe you make it regicide. You probably make it regicide. That way you betray people and you just kill their kings. I think that'd be very, very funny. Hello, Call Me TV. Because I can imagine you would be on the team with everybody else in the game, right? And then, like, hey, Foghorn TV, how's it going, best buddy, old pal? And then he's like, what are you doing? Why are you building stone walls around my castle with my king in it? And you're like, oh, to protect you, of course. Let me just put bombard towers all over your base. Thank you for the bombard towers, friend. And then, the alliances change and suddenly your king dies instantly. Let me escort your king with an army of hand cannoneers to where it's safe. Time limit score? I mean, maybe, Slynra. I like the idea of Regicide, though. That could be fun. That was a really, really crazy game. Hello, Force Edge. It has been a while. Welcome. Welcome. Also, King of the Hill, no diplomacy. But I like the idea of diplomacy. I like it when people are double-crossing each other all the time. And perhaps Regicide would make that more interesting. Because that way, yeah, you escort your kings across the entire map, and boom. A little bit of an anticlimactic ending, but an epic game nonetheless. I hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, your feedback is appreciated, so let me know in the comments below. I do read them all, even if I don't get a chance to respond to them. Let me know if you enjoyed this by leaving a thumbs up. It makes a massive, massive difference if you take a brief moment to do that when I post this on YouTube. Appreciate it. Leave a comment below, too. Let me know if you'd like to see more similar things, or if you have other interesting ideas. I'd love to spectate more games. Obviously, I'll still be playing games, and I'll still be, spectating expert 1v1s and giving my commentary on all sorts of stuff. And I'll also still be doing other videos in addition to Age of Empires 2, so this would just be something that I throw into the mix. I thought this was a lot of fun. Perhaps if we make it Regicide, it would be even better. Hello, Robo. Welcome. Thank you, Dark Paladin. Glad to hear you love my AI. Cinepolita says, what's the plan for tonight's stream? I'm going to play 2 more games after this, I think, even though this game was really, really long. And we could even do Sherwood Heroes. Who knows? So either way, as always, I really appreciate your support. Don't go anywhere, guys. I'll be doing another game after this, which will be fun as well. I'll post this on YouTube at some point. Probably, I don't know if I'll split it in 2 parts. We'll see. And yeah, if you want to get in on my live stream, feel free to give it a follow. You can find my streaming schedule on my Twitch page by scrolling underneath the video player there. I do update it every day, so make sure you check back regularly. And yeah, I will see you all shortly. Happy holidays, of course, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes, and then I'll start the drawing for the next games. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.